Hey everybody, it's Jon from the Hustle Daily Show. Before we get into the news today, did you know that HubSpot launched an AI chatbot that helps you build awesome campaigns at scale with just a few prompts? It's called Campaign Assistant, and it's a totally free to use AI tool that will transform the way that you build marketing campaigns at scale. And the best part? It works seamlessly with all of HubSpot's marketing and sales tools to scale your output across email, social, and more. So AI your way into the most effective campaigns yet at HubSpot.com/campaign-assistant. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, December 21st. This is Jon Weigell here with Noelle Medina, and welcome to the Hustle Daily Show. Today, we're talking about the booming industry of holiday cards. Where did they come from, and why do we continue to pour billions of dollars into them every single year? I'm hoping to answer those questions today with the help of Noelle Medina, who produced a video analyzing the business of holiday cards on the Hustle YouTube channel. So let's get into it. So Noelle, how are you today? Looking very Christmassy.
I'm good. Yeah, I know. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, I have a lovely sort of spread of greenery behind me with some Christmas lights. Jon, I also made some hot chocolate in honor of this episode, so hope you don't mind if I drink that for this conversation.
You just look the coziest, I gotta say. And your
so
kind
cozy.
of shirt is like a red velvet, it looks like. It's very Christmassy.
I am so ready for the holidays, Jon. I've been listening to Christmas music since I'm one of those people, right?
Oh my God, you're one of those too. When do you actually start listening to Christmas music around?
It's hard for me to stop, really, is more the case. So January, I would say, is I'm kind of still
is
sort of listening to, But then kind of something happens like midsummer, like July, where I'm just craving those cozy Christmas feelings. And so, I'll throw on a little Michael Bublé Christmas.
That's pretty great. That's probably one of my favorite Christmas albums anyways. But also, I commend your dedication being on the West Coast, too, in July of all months on the West Coast to just kind of cozy up. I appreciate that.
You're like, you look really cozy. And I'm like, it's nearly 80 degrees outside right now. And I'm sweating. But here I am in my big quilted, red jacket. And my hot chocolate.
Here you are, as Christmassy as ever. That's amazing. So I wanted to dig into this today about holiday cards. I know you produced a great video on it that's available on the Hustle YouTube channel right now. I wanted to get started with what led you to start researching the holiday card industry. Are you a consumer of holiday cards yourself? Do you use them every year for you, or what made you get into it?
Yeah. Well, I actually got to give full props to Sade, our senior producer over at the Hustle YouTube channel. Sade's idea was to really dig into this industry, and it just made perfect sense because it is an industry that I think a lot of people don't realize to what extent it's so massive. But so many Americans, almost 50% of Americans every single year will send a holiday card. And so we all sort of engage in this tradition that's been going on since the mid-1800s. So it just felt like a really cool industry to look into, and I had a lot of fun researching it.
Wow, that's super fun. I actually didn't even know that it started in like the 1800s. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so Smithsonian Magazine put out an article, I think back in 2015, about the first holiday card that was ever sent. It was sent by Sir Henry Cole, if that name rings a bell for anyone out there.
So official.
Yeah, apparently he was this British sort of socialite in this very elite circle in Britain. And the article, there's a line in the article that says that he had the misfortune of having too many friends. I personally don't have that misfortune, but I imagine, right? It's like it gets overwhelming at the holiday times. You just have so many people to send cards to. So he thought about, a way that he could kind of send this mass correspondence out to communicate, season's greetings from Sir Henry Cole and just get it done. And that's what he did. And he created this really cute, you can actually go online and Google it. It's like an illustration of people, kind of cheery, rosy cheek characters, just enjoying the holidays, enjoying Christmas. And that's what he put on his holiday card and sent it out to his many friends.
Wow. Good for him. Good for him for having friends. I've heard a lot about holiday cards being in the late 1800s, kind of like a form of their social media, kind of like exchanging information and exchanging kind of gifts and cards. It kind of is that social media of the time, but good for Sir Henry and his many friends. Happy for him. Now, of course, taking the industry from 1843 was it when it first started to nowadays, obviously there's a big shift. How would you explain how the industry has changed from then to now? I'm sure a lot.
Yeah, a lot. And also, I do think that it's still kind of this way to communicate at scale, like to everyone sort of in your circle. Hey, I'm thinking about you, wishing you happy holidays. You know, you get those people every now and then that put like a full letter in their holiday card and they want to just document everything that happened to them. Like yesterday, I had a sandwich and Merry Christmas. But, you know, so we have those people, right? So it is a way to sort of express on a larger scale, you know, kind of what's going on in our lives, or just kind of send an update, say hello to people. So in that way, the purpose hasn't really changed. But I mean, this industry sort of around it, the commercialization of it is what's really kind of taken off. And especially in recent years, with social media, you know, it's almost an extension of social media. And to your point, Jon, Time Magazine back in 2014 called holiday cards America's first social media. So we use and tap into the holiday card tradition in a very similar way as we do online when we post pictures, and, you know, really just want to kind of show everyone what we're doing, what we're up to around the holiday time.
Wow. Yeah, that's fascinating. I think it's a lot of that is also from, of course, you know, just me being on social media during the holiday season, just seeing people's digital cards. Nowadays, a lot of digital cards, a lot of photo shoots and uploads and all that. I don't think I actually get any physical holiday cards, at least personally. Maybe, I don't know, maybe people don't like me, but
I'm sure that's not the case.
I mean, who knows? But I do get a lot of texts. I get texts and I get the holiday cards through that. Do you personally make holiday cards every year?
You know, I personally don't, but my family does. And so I'm always sort of roped into sending holiday cards. My mom doesn't even like ask for my approval. She's just like, oh, here's a picture of us on vacation. You know, Noelle's eyes are closed, but hey, whatever. We'll send that to everyone we know. No, but it's a really, I think for my family, it's always been a tradition and will probably continue to be so. But the tradition of e-cards is really starting to explode. Post-COVID, especially, I think in 2021, that industry saw a 24% increase in revenue.
Wow.
So watch out, holiday cards and Shutterfly and all those, you know, platforms where you can create and personalize your physical holiday cards. I mean, the e-card industry is coming for you.
Yeah, it sounds big. And it also kind of on that subject, what do you think the holiday card industry, how much does it gross every year? And kind of what are the economics of the industry itself today?
Yeah, so the industry, from what I found, is worth close to $7 billion. That's according to IBISWorld. They put out that statistic, I think, around 2022. So I would venture to say that it's still probably up there, that 7B figure. But we have seen it declining a little bit. And actually, Jon, surprisingly, when I was researching holiday cards and looking through archives from the New York Times, the LA Times, we sent about 2 billion cards back in the 80s, early 90s. Today, we're only sending about 1 billion cards. So, you know, fast forward 40 years, and we're actually seeing a little bit of a decline, even though, I mean, it's still a really popular tradition. Like I said, almost half of the American population sends holiday cards every single year. But yeah, the industry, as much as it's worth quite a bit, is, I think, a little bit on the decline. And I think that's due to COVID. I think we really sort of leaned into virtual and digital communications, and probably also due to social media, like you said. I mean, a lot of people will just put their season's greetings out there on Facebook, on Instagram, so they don't really need to spend all the money on everything that comes with sending a physical card, because it adds up.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. And you got super granular in your research for this. Something that I really enjoyed from your research specifically was how specific you got with people that are making money in this industry nowadays, especially photographers and people that are behind the production of these cards. Can you talk a little bit about what their role is and maybe how they're seeing a price increase or decrease from creating holiday cards just for people every year?
Yeah. I mean, I was blown away to learn how much money people spend on producing their holiday cards every single year and how much money these photographers can charge people to take professional photos, which, I mean, who doesn't want a professional photo, right?
Right,
and especially
of
if we're thinking about this in the context of, the modern age with social media, you really want to put your best face forward. So yeah, I interviewed a photographer, Melissa McGowan. She's based in Dallas, Texas. She does awesome work. And she really sort of revealed her numbers to me. When it comes to holiday photography, she offers a couple of different packages, but one of her most popular packages is a mini holiday photo shoot that's only 15 minutes long. She does the photo shoot with families, right? You get 15 minutes, you get 8 digital prints, plus Photoshop work done by Melissa herself. Those packages start at $200, but Melissa says that some clients will spend as much as $800 on those packages alone.
Sure.
Which is a lot. Now, again, that varies, right? Depending on what maybe you ask her to do, if you want some more digital prints, if you want some more Photoshopping done.
Definitely different from your mom taking a photo that just happened this past year and just slapping it on a card, sending it out. My mom does the same thing. But it sounds like a lot of people are getting these professionally done, which is nothing new. But still, at that price, it's very, very fascinating that the industry is just doing so well every year. I'm sure it's doing even better this year than it did last year.
Yeah. I mean, Melissa told me she keeps raising her prices, and she said she's booked solid for the months of November and December, like come July. So, but it does make sense why she would, raise her prices. For Melissa, she takes all of her photos in studio spaces that she herself rents out. And they're beautiful. I mean, they have all the trimmings, kind of like what I have behind me today. Actually nicer than what I have behind me today.
Are you actually doing this podcast from a photo studio right now? Is that what's happening?
I am not. But I mean, hey, maybe I should charge people to stand in front of this backdrop and I'll snap photos of them.
You should. Now, something I wanted to hit on too for your research, is there anything while producing this video that surprised you, whether it be a number, a statistic, or just any factor of the holiday card industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think Melissa's insights regarding how much her clients spend was really surprising to me. I would have never thought that people would pay as much as $800 for 8 digital prints and a 15-minute photo shoot. And then on top of that, we have a lot of people who utilize platforms like Shutterfly, like Minted, to produce their physical card. And those cards start at, 70 cents to up to like $2 or $3 per card. So if you're ordering 100 cards, that's $300 at the top end. Plus, maybe you're spending $500 on your photo shoot. So then you're at $800 to send your holiday cards just to 100 people, not to mention the cost of postage, which, by the way, right now in 2023, it costs 66 cents to send just one card. Next year in 2024, that number will increase to 68 cents for postage.
Wow.
So it's like the expenses just keep on coming, right? Unless you're going to get in the car and drive around and, put letters in people's mailboxes, which I do think some people do.
That's good. That's a good method to do it. That's a great method. But every time you say something about this, it makes me just not want to get into it, I guess, unfortunately, just from a money standpoint. But even from past the economic standpoint of everything, but I also wanted to dig into a bit about the environmental problems that they may cause, because considering that so many holiday cards go back and forth in between mailboxes every year, all that paper has to end up somewhere, right? So did you find anything in your research about the environmental issues maybe that this could be causing?
Yeah, I did come across a statistic, and I don't have the source for it, but I read that 66% of people toss their holiday cards in the trash.
Yeah.
Guilty. I am sorry, Grandma, I'm not keeping the holiday card.
Keep them. People keep those. I have to. I mean, I recycle them, like a good citizen. But
right.
I mean,
yes.
It's Christmas. You send one every year. I mean, am I going to keep them all? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on your fridge space, really, I think is the, and how many magnets you have. I was so surprised to learn the environmental costs that come with sending holiday cards every single year. And I'll read you this stat from a study by University of Exeter in the UK. They found that sending 1.3 billion holiday cards, which is roughly how many we send every year, emits as much CO2 as charging 22 billion smartphones. So yeah, it's not great.
Not the best. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a good thing digital cards are taking some of that space. But then again, I mean, more digital data is also bad. So I mean, maybe just have all your friends be me and don't send them anything, maybe.
Yeah, or just don't have friends.
Good.
Like,
yeah, that's easy. Just,
right.
just
Cut
don't go
down,
outside.
do some social pruning.
Exactly. And something else I wanted to bring up, it seems like a lot of this holiday card tradition is being upheld by millennials. Strangely enough, you know, you and I talk about our mothers and kind of the boomer and Gen X generations doing this, but it seems like a lot of millennials are very invested in this too. Do you know at all why that is?
Yeah. So I'm a millennial, and even though I'm not personally sending out cards, I love getting Christmas cards. And I have a lot of friends now that are getting married and having kids, so I love getting their cards every year. The Washington Post came out with an article a couple years ago specifically about holiday cards, and how it's become just a growing sort of trend for the millennial generation, and how they're sort of embracing it as a throwback gesture.
Oh, yes. Vintage.
Exactly. Very nostalgic, right? At least I am. I'm very nostalgic.
We're very nostalgic about times that we never experienced. It's the craziest thing. And I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Like I have all this, all these vinyl records now, and I'm like, why? But yeah,
why?
It's cool. It's really cool to engage in traditions that, generations past started. And yeah, so it's kind of a throwback thing for us. I think a lot of us also adopted pets during the pandemic. So a lot of people have been wanting to send more holiday cards in recent years because they want to feature their pets on the card themselves.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to show my dog to everybody that asks me about it. So
you have a dog, Jon?
I do have a dog. Her name is Mimi. She's very small. I'll send you a picture later.
So please, no, Jon, send me a holiday card. Come on. I don't want a picture.
I'll send you a holiday card. Right. I got to get on that.
I want the card. Yeah. Well, and you can also, a lot of these design sites where you can design your card, they have templates specifically for pets. So a meowy Christmas.
Oh my God.
You got to get punny with it. You have to.
Also, that's something else actually I wanted to mention too, or just chat about real quick, is that something else maybe making millennials make these cards nowadays could have something to do with the memification of Christmas cards, because I don't know, at least since 2012, 2013, I've been seeing like, the awkward family photos, all that, and like Doge pictures and whatnot. I feel like that could also be something else that's kind of pumping into this continuous holiday card tradition, perhaps for millennials, at least from the way I see it. I don't know. My friends are weird.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I think there's, all the meme culture definitely comes through when you get a card from a millennial. Yeah, I've gotten some that are like awkward family photos.
Yep.
Or even like the throwback, right? Where like you'll see the kids in a picture from like the 90s doing something stupid, and then it's like the kids today reenacting that same, posing the same way. So that's always kind of fun.
That's great. Yeah, I the only time I ever did holiday photos that wasn't with my parents was with two of my roommates at the time. We went to a JCPenney, and they had a photo studio in the JCPenney. So we all came in a different colored turtleneck, and we got photos all together. And they said that they were only allowed to take pictures of families. So we told them that we were all brothers, even though they look very different than me. And we have all these like weird, silly family photos with just the three of us. And our whole storyline was, we're going to send these to our mom. And the photographer was like, that's so sweet. So yeah.
Wow. I love that. That doesn't surprise me. Like if I hadn't known that you went to a JCPenney to do that, I would have just immediately assumed it was JCPenney.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. Noelle, before we sign off, is there anything else that you want to communicate, that you want to talk about with regards to the holiday card industry?
Yeah, I think something else that was surprising was just, even if you don't pull out all the stops to send a holiday card, I mean, you still will spend quite a bit of money on cards. I interviewed a woman who's a writer out in Chicago, and she sends between 300 and 500 holiday cards every year to total strangers. She sends them to children who are sick in the hospital. She sends them to the elderly. And she was telling me that, it does add up. Even when she's buying holiday cards in bulk that are just, your standard cards, maybe there's like a penguin or a snowman on the front, it's expensive either way. So it's an expensive tradition, but it's a fun tradition. And it was really fun to look into. And I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Again, if you send holiday cards in the new year, you're going to be paying 68 cents for postage. So pro tip, send them out now.
Yeah, send them now. Get them out there now. And thank you so much, Noelle, for joining me. It was great to hear about all of the knowledge that you've gained on the holiday card industry. And of course, for any listeners out there that want to hear more about it, definitely check out the Hustle YouTube channel. Noelle has a great video on holiday cards on the channel. So go check that out right now. All right, and that'll do it for us today. Happy holidays, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot podcast network. Our editor today is Ezra Tripriano, and our executive producer is Darren Clarke. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email, and we will catch you tomorrow. Let me tell you about a show that I've been loving lately. It's called Entrepreneurs on Fire. It's hosted by the incredible John Lee Dumas. It's available now on the HubSpot podcast network. Entrepreneurs on Fire stokes inspiration and shares strategies to fire up your entrepreneurial journey and create the life that you've always dreamed of. I'm a big fan of this podcast. It has energy, it has value, and it's all about learning about entrepreneurship. I was just listening to an episode the other day. JLD interviewed Jay Rogers, who was such a wealth of information. He kind of went into how entrepreneurship chooses you. You don't necessarily choose it, and that failure only happens when you stop trying to win. A lot of gems in this one. So I highly recommend checking out that particular episode along with the rest. So go listen to Entrepreneurs on Fire wherever you get your podcasts. Hey guys, if you listen to the Hustle Daily Show on Google Podcasts, we want to let you know that the option will no longer be available pretty soon. Google is sunsetting its podcast app sometime in early 2024 in favor of YouTube Music, and we want to give you a heads up before it's too late, since that time's almost here. The Hustle Daily Show is available everywhere and anywhere that you listen to podcasts, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're using YouTube Music, we are there as well. If you're an Android fan, there are plenty of apps like Overcast, Pocket Casts, Player FM, and more. So just search for us wherever you decide to listen to your favorite podcasts.